President Trump plans to unveil tomorrow a new merit-based immigration system. It would significantly increase the educational and skills requirements for migrants. Let's get to Fox News' John Roberts at the White House with more. John.
Liz, good afternoon to you. There's actually two pieces to what the president is going to lay out. First of all, will be something very familiar to your audience, and that is the president will talk about the need to increase border security, upgrade ports of entry, and build more wall, make sure that every person who enters the country, every vehicle that crosses the border is screened. At the Peace Officers Memorial today, President Trump talked about the need for border security. Listen here.
Not one more American life should be lost because our lawmakers failed to secure our borders. Tremendous problems are caused at the southern border, from drugs to the wrong people being allowed to come in because of a corrupt and broken system that can be changed in 20 minutes. 20 minutes.
Program is what you were talking about at the top here, switching to a merit-based immigration system. What the president wants to do is change the makeup of the immigrant population. Let the same number of people into the country every year, but just change the makeup. Currently, 12% of people are admitted, given green cards based on employment or their skills. The president wants to increase that to 57%. Family-based immigration, which is the bulk of it now, would reduce from 66% to 33%. And then another 10% would be admitted into the country on humanitarian or other grounds, but it would end the visa lottery program. The president wants to introduce a Build America visa that would recognize extraordinary talent, people with professional and specialized vocations, and exceptional students, and these people would be admitted in the country on a point basis. Points would be given based on age, English proficiency, the offer of employment above a certain wage threshold, and educational and vocational certifications. Democrats, who are skeptical of most everything that the president does, are skeptical of this as well. Listen here.
Well, there have been so many aborted efforts when it comes to immigration reform under this president. I'm skeptical as to whether he truly wants to deal with immigration reform. I know he wants a wall. He said that so many times. Everybody knows it.
The White House is saying it would like to pass a new immigration reform bill before the election. But, Liz, I think in honesty, this really reads more as a 2020 campaign platform piece than it does potential legislation with Democrats controlling the House.
Great analysis and insights, John Roberts. Come back soon. We love having you on.
Thanks, Liz.
Good to see you.